I was 13 when I first got access to a computer.
My parents bought me a Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old.
I was in 6th grade.
I learned to code in college.
Freshman year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
The first time I actually had something come up and say, hello world, and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
Learning how to program didn't start off as wanting to learn all of computer science or trying to master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because I wanted to do this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was fun for myself and my sisters. And I wrote this little program and then basically just add a little bit to it. And then when I needed to learn something new, I looked it up either in a book or on the internet and then added a little bit to it.
It's really not unlike kind of playing an instrument or something, or playing a sport. It starts out being very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned, and I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating, but what isn't?
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a genius to code. Do you have to be a genius to read?
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball or build a house, all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
What it is computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Here we are, 2013. We all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, information, and none of us know how to read and write code.
When I was in school, I was in this after-school group called the Whiz Kids. And when people found out, they laughed at me and, all these things. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I think it's cool. And, I'm learning a lot. And some of my friends have jobs.
Our policy is literally to hire as many talented engineers as we can find. The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
To get the very best people, we try to make the office as awesome as possible.
We have a fantastic chef.
Free food,
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
free laundry,
snacks, even places to play and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office and places where people can play or relax or go to think or play music or be creative.
Whether you're trying to make a lot of money or whether you just want to change the world, computer programming is an incredibly empowering skill to learn.
I think if someone had told me that software is really about humanity, that it's really about helping people by using computer technology, it would have changed my outlook a lot earlier.
To be able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
I think it's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining our session today on girls coding. How do we get young women interested in computer science? With 2/3 of elementary age children indicate that they have an interest in science. However, as they enter middle school, the percentage of interested girls drastically changes. With the number of women studying computer science near an all-time low, it's clear we need to take action. And early childhood education is the root time to reach those students. With me today, I have Nikki Russell, who also is the 2020 Excellence in STEM Teaching winner. Thank you for joining me today, Nikki. Nikki is also my partner in Gig City Girls here in Chattanooga with Hamilton County Schools. And so we're really excited to share with you today everything about Gig City Girls.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm glad to be here. We hope you enjoyed that video provided by code.org. As you see, it's 7 years old already. So all the wonderful things that they're doing with coding and software and how to help humanity and help improve just people's lives and how much we use and depend on coding and technology, whether we really realize it or not. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about Gig City Girls and how you can have the future is female.
All right, now I'm sure you have your cell phone close by. Take a minute and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us at Gig City Girls. We will also reference several websites and resources. And at the end of our presentation, we're going to give you a link so that if you're interested in starting a girls coding program in your school or community, you can sign up with us and have access to all of our resources. In addition to that, we do have our awesome Gig City Girls t-shirts, and we're going to be giving some of those away to some very lucky winners throughout the state. So if you tweet or make a comment on our Facebook post, your name is going to be entered, and we're going to give away probably about 10 t-shirts. So we'll reach out to you, get your size, get your address, and we'll get those mailed out to you as soon as we can. So I think it's important to start with why the work is important. By the start of middle school, girls from under-resourced communities are actually 6,000 hours behind their peers in STEM schools. And so take just a minute and let that sink in. 6,000 hours equates to about 800 days, or about 4 years, almost 4.5 years, that those girls are behind.
The need for STEM employment has increased by almost 80% in the last 40 years.
And next year, there will be more than 1 million computing-related jobs. So it's pretty important that we expose our girls to this. This is a picture that was taken back into 2016. This is my very, very first girls coding club. The girls that are pictured in this photograph were actually, some of them are actually at STEM School of Chattanooga now. They're all in high school, and they were a great group of girls. And probably my favorite quote from that club is that staying after school to do girls coding was the first time that they'd ever stayed after school for a program ever since they had started school. These girls were not cheerleaders. They were not in the band. They did not really play sports. And so offering them a girls coding club gave them a chance to plug in to a program that interests them after school. Here's an example of one of our coding clubs at an elementary school here in Hamilton County. Most of our clubs take place after school.
And we know that in K-12 education, did you know that male students were more likely than female students to take engineering, 21% versus 8%. And enrollment in AP Computer Science was 77% male versus 23% female. However, there were no significant differences in the percentages of male and female students take over computer science classes. So by offering these after-school clubs and starting some of the Gig City Girls that we've already implemented over the past 3 years, we're hoping to increase and really impact that percentage right here in Hamilton County Schools and across Tennessee.
And this slide really shows how our clubs have grown, just from 1 club to 3 clubs the next year, to 10 clubs. For 2020, we had 14 clubs, although our goal really was to have 20 in 2020, but of course COVID changed all of that, and it's kind of been a little bit of a speed bump for us, but we know that coming in 2021 and 2022, we're hoping to get up there in the 20 range and have over 20 clubs, either in Hamilton County or across the state. During our girls coding clubs, they participate in all kinds of activities. They code online, they use various manipulatives, microbits, makey, Ozobots, all kinds of things. We just want our girls to experience STEM in a girl-only setting. And if you would, check out our website. We have tweeted that website link. It's also, you can find it on our Facebook page, or you can simply just Google Gig City Girls, and you'll find it. It's gigcitygirls.com and gigcitygirls.org. It has lots of information about our girls coding clubs on there as well. So check us out there as well. And like we said, our girls clubs are girl-centered. I have been asked before, what about Gig City Boys? And although there isn't one of those just yet, our clubs are just for girls. They are girl-centered. We have a variety of different sponsors of our clubs. Most of them are just regular classroom teachers. Most of them do not have a background in computer science or coding, but they are excellent coding cheerleaders. They encourage the girls to code. They talk to them about different careers. And they just have a great time with these girls.
We also like to really make sure that our club leaders have all the materials that they need. So fortunately, with all of our sponsors and PEF, we've been able to create coding kits and provide that professional development and all of those materials for our sponsors. So it doesn't require a lot of knowledge, like Michelle just said, on the sponsor side. It's just mainly motivating and giving them those opportunities. We want to make sure that we're exposing and giving those opportunities throughout the K-12 experience so that it can transpire into undergraduate degrees, or they may carry over and want to actually go into STEM fields in engineering. In higher education, some of the statistics said that in 2016, women for underrepresented minority groups earned more than half of the science and engineering degree awarded to the respective racial and ethnic groups in all degree levels. Since the late 1990s, women have earned about 57% of all bachelor degrees and half of the S&E bachelor degrees. However, women's participation in science and engineering at the undergraduate level significantly differs by specific field of study. In 2015, women received over half of bachelor degrees awarded in biological sciences. They received far fewer in computer science, only 18%, engineering, 20%, physical science, 39%, and mathematics, 43%. So we're hoping that we can increase that number and impact students to give them the opportunities and the exposure to be interested and engaged in those higher level degrees.
All right, now our awesome producer, Jessie, is going to share with you a video. And this is actually a Tennessee native. And she's going to talk to you a little bit about how her journey began with coding. And we just want girls to see more role models just like her.
When I was a kid, man, I wanted to be an astronaut so bad. And I wanted to be a marine biologist. Then I wanted to go into political science. I always had some grand dreams. My name is Sarah Blevins, and I am from Knoxville, Tennessee. I have always had a passion for technology, always. But I went to a small school in a rural area. The extent of our technical exposure was playing Oregon Trail on old computers. And so it was few and far between when I had access to those things. But when I did, it was like Christmas. I didn't even have a computer in my house until 2010. I completed my bachelor's in February, and it took me 18 years. Sorry to laugh. It just sounds like a long time when I say it out loud. Someone close to me was an engineer, and they always told me, you think like an engineer. I was sitting in my room, and they were pointing out, this is HTML, this is a tag. I remember the moment vividly, and I thought, this is it. This is what I was meant to do. I found out that Udacity and Google are offering developer scholarships. And right then I filled it out and I sent it off. I thought, if I get this, my whole world could change. I am learning front-end web development. I love the structure of the Udacity Challenge course. I love that there's a live coding environment. There are forums you can network with your peers. I can basically fit in 15-minute increments if that's what I need to do. I can do it at night after I put the boys to bed. There have been times I have said to myself, okay, right foot next, left foot next. We work together as a family to make sure I have time. Sometimes I'll say, guys, I really need your help tonight because Mom has some things to do that's going to better our lives. I get so into it. Sometimes I have to remind myself to go to bed because I have to go to work the next day. I love the feeling of exhaustion that comes from working myself mentally and solving problems, and code caters to that. It pushes what I'm capable of, and I love it. I have been told that it isn't feminine to be in science or technology or math, and I reject that. It makes me feel powerful to be able to help build the world that I live in. And that's what being able to program does for you.
And so while he cues up our next slide, I just want to point out that women actually make up half the world's U.S. college-educated workforce, but only 28% of science and engineering workforce. And I think that Sarah was a great example. I loved when she said someone told her that she thinks like an engineer and that she rejects that being into science and computer science isn't feminine. I love that she challenged that. And so you shouldn't have to stop playing to go do the work or do the learning, and you shouldn't have to stop learning to go do the playing. So even if you're an educator and you're interested in computer science like Sarah, there's still time. But I will say that in Hamilton County, we do have an Amazon grant that is provided by Boot Up PD. It's part of the Amazon Future Engineer program. And we provide professional development for our teachers, K-5, on integrating computer science and using Scratch coding with their regular curriculum. And so we're going to be starting year 2 of that this fall. And we're pushing teachers to use coding with their students. Because believe it or not, 90% of American schools do not teach computer science. Isn't that amazing? So our Girls Coding Clubs, we provide all of our sponsors with what we call the window pane activities. And we have a whole Google Drive folder full of these window panes. They're labeled by month, and we try to update those pretty regularly with all different coding websites, resources, most of which are free that you can find online. But we take it one step further, and we always incorporate one STEM career. And so each club meeting, the girls get to participate in a variety of activities, visit different websites, code, whatever interests them. But they also learn about a career. And so we have them do all the research on what the education is needed, where those jobs are, what the salary is for those jobs, and where the places are that are hiring, different businesses. And so it's not just about exposing the girls to coding, but you have to talk to them about those different careers.
And make sure that if you're a sponsor and you're like, I'm not even sure that I know them all, you're welcome to do the window pane activity alongside your girls. You can do it in the sessions that you hold the classes, or you can do it in advance. But this will also give you opportunities to call in community partners, or to partner with your universities or anyone in your area that could come in and speak about their career, or could be a role model or someone that would maybe volunteer and help you support your club as well.
All right, so I think we might have a few comments in the chat. So let's say hypothetically that you decided you were going to be an engineer now. What kind of engineer would you be, or what area interests you? Nikki, what would you say for you?
I would go with a computer scientist just because I love coding and I love exploring and creating new things. So I would do some more computer engineering. That's what I would say. And what would you say, Michelle?
Well, as a chicken farmer, I'd have to say I would go for the agricultural engineer. That would be me. Let's look at our chat and see if anyone has posted maybe what they want to be. If you want to take just a minute and drop in the chat what kind of engineer you would be, if you could pursue that now. Drop that in the chat to us. And if you're not sure what kind of engineer you would be, you could always take the quiz online. There's a really good quiz. It's at tryengineering.org. You can access that on our Gig City Girls Facebook page or the Twitter page, either one. Or you could even Google it and go to that website and find it yourself and find out what kind of engineer you are. Find out, tweet it to us. We'd love to hear from you and hear what kind of engineer you might be.
Yes, and you can drop that in the chat, and we will answer questions at the end. We know that there's some questions already in the chat, so Jesse has helped us understand that those are coming at the end. So we will answer a few questions at the end of the session, but feel free to do that. But we do want to make sure that another statistic would be that women make up half of the total U.S. college educated workforce, but only 28% of the science and engineering workforce. So you may think that you wouldn't really be interested in engineering, or it may be something that you've never really thought about. So taking that really simple quiz that has very cute little visuals, you just go with your instinct, may help you decide something that you may be more interested in, and you can share it with any of your girls K through 12 to help them maybe spark some interest so that they know which one that they would like to research or to know more about, or to partner with those community partners. This is also 2 books that are available. One of these is Everyday Superheroes. Josh Snyderman with Learning Blade actually worked with the Gig City Girls at my school to create some of the illustrations. We asked them to draw what a scientist looks like. And research shows that most people, if they draw what a scientist or someone that's in STEM, they draw the classic older Caucasian person with white hair and a white lab coat. But when we did that at the beginning, that's kind of what we got, was a lot of male roles and a lot of things of stereotypical scientists and engineers. And then after Gig City Girls, we asked them to do it again, and they actually used some of the illustrations that the girls did to inspire some of the artwork in this book. So this is another one that you could pick up that has lots of different STEM fields for women. STEM Gems is another fantastic one. It's actually women all over the world that are actually in STEM fields or engineering, coding fields, and it talks about their careers and how they got to where they are. So these are 2 great resources that you can check out and add very easily to your Girls Coding Club.
Absolutely. And it's always fun to tweet those people. Our students, it's always exciting when they get a response back from one of them. So let's have a little bit of fun now, and we can see if you want to drop these in the chat. We can talk about them at the end. Like she said, we'll see your answers at the end. But we have a few things up here that we want to see. Which one of these do you think was actually invented by a woman? Caller ID, which that's pretty important. Fire escape, Monopoly, the syringe,
the ice cream maker, the windshield, chocolate chip cookies, the globe, the dishwasher, and then the retractable dog leash. So drop it in the chat and see what you think, which one was created by a female.
Okay.
All right, so drum roll.
Which one was it?
All of them.
All of them.
Yes. So we may not know that because we haven't really, dive deep into what all kind of engineers and inventors there are out there. But this is a really great way to show how women have influenced the world around us with our everyday lives.
Isn't that great? That's amazing. I love it. All right, here's another good question for you. Okay. In 1790, the first patent was issued to Samuel Hopkins, a male. And what year do you think the first patent was issued to a female? Was it A, the very next year? Was it B,
1891?
1891.
C, 1809, or D, 1819? So if you want to drop it in the chat or just say to your neighbor or say to yourself.
Take a guess.
All right.
All right, you think we should tell them?
We should tell them. So it was actually C. 19 years later was when the first patent was issued to a female. So that just shows you that that was already probably in place, and there were already inventors and engineers happening within all of the society with women and men, but it was a 20-year gap before there was actually one awarded. Pretty crazy.
I know, crazy. I'm sure they had ideas over that 20 years.
I'm sure they did.
Now, one thing that we thought might be fun for you to do, and you can definitely tag Gig City Girls in this tweet. So if you would, grab your phone, go to Twitter, make sure you tag TSIN and tag Gig City Girls. And remember, you could win one of our Gig City Girls t-shirts. It's going to be coming to you in the mail. But tweet your initials. I started to say tweet your whole name, but if you have a name like me that's 8 letters, that would take you a few minutes. As you can see, binary code is with 1s and 0s, and that is computer science language. Anything you want to add to that, Nikki?
So just like you speak English or we learn different languages, music is another language. Binary code is the language that computers use to actually read and to understand the input and what you actually want it to do. So even though it's 1s and 0s, it's a combination of the digits, and that's the only digits that they actually use in binary code. But you can actually put your initials and see how your binary code would give the computer the information for the letters in your initials. So pretty neat. The girls love doing this. We've made these on bracelets. We've made them with really inexpensive beads and pipe cleaners, and they absolutely love it. It's personalized. It's student focused. They actually walk around and say, "Can you read my binary code?" So check that out. That's just a quick idea that you could do and implement very easily without any tech.
Yes, low tech, no tech, unplugged. We do it all. All right, and I just have to give a plug for Learning Blade. They're a great partner. Like Nikki mentioned a minute ago, Josh is the author of the Everyday STEM Heroes book, and we use those in our girls' coding clubs here in Chattanooga. And Learning Blade is actually offering a free statewide resource. They have over 100 computer science lessons, and it's a great way for teachers to monitor their students' progress. They have a website that you can set up. You give your students the code, and you can actually track their progress and see what different activities that they're doing. We use this with our girls' coding clubs. And you can register for that, get you a free account. It's just at learningblade.com /TN for Tennessee.
If you need any help with that, please email them. They are fantastic. They'll be glad to work with you. They'll be glad to set up the accounts. The students actually get a free account with a username and password, and it logs all of their progress so they can pick up right where they left off. They can move around. It's not like you have to complete one to move to the other. So if they say that they're interested in computer science today and then want to switch to chemical engineering, they are able to do that. So it's just a fantastic resource. It is geared more towards middle and early high school, but we've used it in upper grades in elementary school and or in high schools that have had no STEM resources for them to be able to explore and to research. So check them out, Learning Blade, email them. They're fantastic to work with, and they'll be glad to meet with you to set that up.
Absolutely. All right, well, here is that slide we talked about at the beginning. If you're interested in joining our mission, we would love for you to join Gig City Girls, whether you're in Hamilton County Schools or if you're in Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, wherever you are, we would be happy to help support you, give you access to our Google Drive folder that's full of resources, all those window panes, all of those career examples, everything, you name it. We're here to support you, and we would love to help launch your Gig City Girls Club in your community or in your school. So you're welcome to sign up today. This link is available on our Facebook page as well as on our Twitter page. So don't worry about writing it down, or if you have your handy TSIN notebook, you can put that information in there as well. But we would love for you to join us, whether you have a club that's got 10 girls in it or 50 girls, although I have to say that once you start having the club, you're going to have a lot of girls interested. But you could meet once a month, twice a month, you could meet once a week. It's totally up to you. We do not set the pace or the number of times that you meet. We just encourage you by giving you those resources and supports. All of our teachers in Hamilton County, we do supply them with a coding box that's full of different coding manipulatives and activities for the teachers to use with their students. And the best part is they can use it with their classes during the regular school day as well. And like I said, we do give them access to our Google Drive folder. This past year, we were very blessed to have McKee Foods and Little Debbie as our sponsor, and they actually provided snacks to all of our girls. And so if you start a girls coding club, I have to tell you that that is a must. The girls do come after school and they are so hungry, and they love their Little Debbies. And as soon as they have their Little Debbie, they are ready to code, and it's worked out beautifully. And we are so thankful for their partnership. They actually helped us to add 4 new clubs this year by providing those coding kits for us, and then they provide the snacks every month. And they have been fabulous. And it's so awesome because at Christmas time, we had the Christmas trees, and we had pumpkins and everything for Halloween. So it was really nice. And I know our club sponsors appreciated not having to find snacks for the girls.
So if you're interested, even if you're like, I don't even really know where to start, or I'm not sure that I'm an expert in all of the things that we've talked about today, please do not hesitate. We would love to hear from you. We would love to have a conversation with you. Michelle and I both are here to talk about your school and personalize your situation and your experience. Maybe come up with a starter plan for you and your club, be able to give you some ideas. We will be launching a professional development session in late July or early August, just to get all of the club sponsors together via Zoom, of course, or an online platform, and be able to answer those questions and be able to be a resource for you on how to get started or how to pick up after all of the COVID changes that we went through this year. So no matter where you are, we would love to meet you right where you are and get started. Again, you can have 5 girls, you can have 20 girls. It's really, we want you to personalize it and make it an experience that you enjoy and want to be a part of. So if you're on the fence about it, we encourage you to go there and fill out the survey really quickly. It'll take you about 3 minutes, and then we'll be in touch with you to kind of have that conversation about what you need and how we can support you. We really want to spread the impact that we've had just here in Hamilton County across the state of Tennessee, and we can do that virtually, and we don't have to have a lot of travel there. So we're trying to make it as easy and as impactful as possible. So please reach out, and again, we will post this on all social media accounts as well.
All right, so we're going to take a look at the chat now and see if we have any questions that we could answer. We do have a short video to send you off with at the very end, but before we do that, we'd love to see if you have any questions, comments. If you've told us what kind of engineer you are, we'd like to see that too.
Okay, so Jesse is helping us out. He's our fantastic producer today. So Jesse, we are not able to see the presenters chat. Is there a way to cue that up? We can only see we can only see the presenters chat. We can't see the participants. So all we can see is presenter chat. All right, we just can see presenters chat. We cannot see the participants. So
we're running out of time, so we may need to go move on to our video. We'll stick around after the video. How about that? And if you have a question you want to put in the chat, maybe we'll have our little technical difficulty resolved here. But we do have one last video to share with you, and we are so proud of this video. This is from 2019, at the end of a very good year. We had about 10 girls coding clubs, and we had an event in downtown Chattanooga at the Edney. And it was just great, wasn't it? It was actually, we marketed it as the largest girls coding event in Chattanooga and Hamilton County. The girls did everything from gardening to making slime to coding robots to coding online. What else did they do? All kinds of stuff.
They were able to take photographs with the creations, with their families. They were able to network and mingle with other girls from other schools that had also participated in Gig City Girls. We had community members there that they could sign up for camps and clubs over the summer and throughout the year. So this is something that we chose to do. You don't have to do this. It's not a requirement, but it's just a great way to celebrate the girls and really get the word out in the community. So I think Jesse's going to cue that up for us, and we're going to watch that, and we're going to work on the chat while you're checking that out.
All right, so that gave you a glimpse of our end of year celebration. We had to plan to make that an annual event, and we hope to do that again maybe next May when everyone can be together again. So we did finally make it to your chat. Sorry about that. Sorry for the delay. And you did have some great questions. Michelle says, what equipment is needed to facilitate a club, and how much is a startup cost? We usually provide the kits for our schools in Hamilton County, and we have several sponsors. EPB is our sponsor. PEF has helped sponsor us, and so has McKee Foods, like I mentioned. But I will say that you could start a club with nothing. All the girls would need would be their Chromebooks or their school issued devices, or if you have a computer lab in your school. Our window pane activities give you access to all the different websites, and all of the websites that we usually use are free. There are so many great free resources out there that there's really not any need to pay for anything. We have been very blessed to have some great sponsors that have provided some great coding kits. And in our folder, you would have access to the list of supplies that we use. But it is some things like we mentioned earlier, like the Makeys and the Ozobots. We have coding books, all kinds of different manipulatives and all kinds of things. But Nikki mentioned another resource that would be really good for you is your TSIN hub, STEM hub. I know ours has a great lending library at PEF. And teachers can check out different devices. They have all kinds of different little robots that you can check out and use with your students. But honestly, just giving them the space with a computer and free websites is really all you need.
And we do have those compiled on a list to be able to give you those to you as well. So again, if you're interested and want more information, please fill out the interest survey, even if it's just to get your questions answered that you put out in the chat. And that way you can take it back to your school or community and share with them. So it looks like we have about 1 minute left. And it looks like over here in the comments, these are all great questions, and we would love to address them and love to have more deeper conversations. Michael, especially yours about insight for promoting STEM and to female minorities. I kind of specialize in that area as far as where I work and the schools that I've been in and really doing that. So please reach out. I would love to have a further conversation with you. And we see that Jill and Rachel and Linda have other great questions. So please, even if you don't think you may not want to start one this year, but you're interested in the work that we've done and how we've done it, please let us know. Send us a message or an email, and we'll be glad to get in touch with you and see how we can help you find those answers and incorporate STEM and coding clubs at your school. So thank you so much for being here. We know that was a lot of information. We hope that that was helpful and make you understand or see the need of what we need for the future to be female. And again, check us out on social media, and we hope that you have a great rest of your TSIN conference.
Yeah, don't forget, tweet, and so we can get lots of names in the drawing for our T-shirts. We'd love to send one of those out to you. So make sure you like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, follow us, and we will be in touch.
Hopefully, we'll see you next year at the TSIN in-person conference.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.